SUTV News, find out the new places you can now study abroad.
And the long-lasting effects of not paying attention to your health when you're in college.
All that and more coming up right now.
And thank you for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Kim Garris. In an SUTV tradition, as the SUTV advisor, I step in to anchor alongside a graduating senior on his or her last broadcast. So tonight, I'm joining the departing...
I'm Louis DeSanto. In tonight's news, SHIP students now have another option for study abroad. The university now has an agreement with Leuphana University of Germany and the University of Gothenburg in Sweden.
Opportunity to bring those students here and to become a part of the Shippensburg community and get to know our students. It gives them the opportunity to come to the United States, which is a great thing as well, and experience our culture and educational system.
The agreement for both universities is 5 years. Responsible Raiders remind us it's easy to help police and yourself by using common sense. A fun party doesn't have to include a visit from the police on the weekend. Julia Wiegand has the details.
Flyers with tips on it how to keep the peace between the police and the students.
Light fires, throw glass bottles, or crowd the streets, and police are sure to be there. Hanging out on the roof or screaming obscenities at the police will catch their attention. It's no wonder nearly a dozen state troopers lined up right here to watch Richard Avenue during a party this past summer. But their goals aren't to ruin a student's night. If police give you a warning, be sure to listen.
It's not an us against them type mentality. Our goal is not to eliminate the fun. Our goal is to keep the fun below a level, because once it reaches that level, then that's when problems occur. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
Try to carry your school ID with you.
Our whole intentions was to try to bring a buffer, some order, as well as some compliance to the ordinance to Richard Avenue at the request of Shippensburg Township.
The ordinance is there to regulate public gatherings, open alcohol consumption, noise, and nuisance complaints. For SUTV News, I'm Julia Wiegand.
For more information on responsible hosting or how to become a responsible raider next semester, visit the school website or check out sutvnews.com.
When it comes to giving back, some people reach out in their community. Some SHIP students are reaching out well beyond. Damani Johnson has more.
Nick Higgins has been to Haiti, Dominican Republic, and other underdeveloped countries, but Honduras was the place that stole his heart. The culture, the people, and their positive attitudes captivate Nick.
And they have nothing, but they bring you coffee, a tortilla, beans, like whatever they have.
This year, Nick is working with the Catholic Campus Ministry Group at SHIP. He hopes to raise enough money to bring a few more SU students on a spring break mission trip to Honduras next semester.
And I had to raise $2,500, and I raised all of it in one weekend.
SU student Jessica Wisnowski is joining Nick abroad.
When I come back, I think I'm going to be a completely different person. I'm going to have like a whole new appreciation and an outlook for life.
Experiencing a new culture can make a difference in the way we see things.
I want to change the world, but if I go down to Honduras and I just change one person's life, that's all I need.
Catholic Campus Ministries outreach doesn't stop there. They also hold several fundraising events throughout the year for their church and for the university. For SUTV News, I'm Damani Johnson.
And for more information on how to donate or sign up for Nick Higgins' trip, visit sutvnews.com, keyword Honduras. When students head to college, they gain some freedoms they may not have considered need some responsibility, like eating habits. And it turns out bad habits can have lasting effects. Amanda Trevel has more.
Students get freedom to eat what they want, when they want. Some students don't realize the long-term effect it can have on their bodies.
For college students, usually they don't really, they know there's a risk of gaining weight, but they don't look at the ramifications of what happens when they do gain weight. And I think those ramifications don't really show up till much later in life. Typically when you say, oh, I've got hypertension or I've got high cholesterol, I didn't really even think about that could happen to me.
Colleen is working to keep this from happening to her.
I just started eating really healthy and cut out all the bad stuff because I was eating a lot of bad stuff. And then just started working out because I never worked out before.
The freshman 15 tail has come a long way, and a couple more pounds have been added on throughout the years.
Freshman 5 was what we had back then. So we've gone from 5 to like 7 till 10 to 15 now. Like that's a huge change, and that kind of bodes poorly for what we're doing as a society, and we see that with overweight trends in this country.
Dining halls try to provide healthy alternatives, but some students find it hard to eat a healthy and nutritious meal.
It looks fine, but it's not that healthy for you anyway, so living off campus is definitely a benefit to eating healthy because you're able to buy your own food and control what you eat instead of just showing up at the dining hall and taking the mac and cheese that they have.
Diet is just one component of a healthy lifestyle. Getting the right amount of sleep and socialization help too. For SUTV News, I'm Amanda Trevel.
According to the National Sleep Foundation, people 18 to 25 years old should get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night.
When we come back, it's been 25 years since the American with Disabilities Act passed. Find out how it's still changing lives today.
And the third terrorist in the Paris attacks has been identified. We have the latest in World News.
When you think of the civil rights movement in this country, you likely think of the efforts to end racial inequality. But our nation marks a big civil rights milestone this year. As Holly Harrer reports, SHIP's Disability Studies Department is celebrating the anniversary of a special victory for the disability community.
It's a good time to look back and see what we've accomplished over the last 25 years, but it's also a good time to look ahead to see what work still needs to be done.
It's been 25 years since the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed, and SHIP celebrates over cake and a few words regarding the ADA from the event speaker, Dr. Richard Scotch.
But to think about disability in a fundamentally different way. Its goal was transformative.
And transformative it was. Laws can help, but they don't always change societal views.
A lot of the trends in our society are not ones that promote equality, so that even though we have this great law on the books, employment numbers actually haven't budged.
Disability studies minors at SHIP are equipped with the knowledge behind the ADA and its environmental aspects.
As I walk through campus, I think about accessibility issues all the time. I see a door that's not working correctly or an automated door that's broken, and I immediately think about how this is a violation of the ADA.
Our understanding of disability pauses at the last reform of the ADA, but a positive attitude can drive future change.
We're making advances every day. When are we going to change and update the ADA to meet those?
Holly Harrer, SUTV News.
People are becoming more aware of disability rights, but there's still work to be done. For more on how you can make a difference, visit SUTVnews.com, keyword ADA.
The trauma of a rape can make it difficult for a victim to take action, but immediate action is the key to preserving evidence, and that can ease a victim's mind later on. Julie Ratcliffe takes us through the process every rape victim should go through.
This is about empowering the victim and letting them choose the course of what happens next.
Evidence is key for rape victims seeking justice, and ED nurse manager Jill Harshman knows immediate action is best.
One of the most important things not to do is not to change your clothes, not to take a shower.
Typically, victims will call police, then head to the emergency room.
Law enforcement would notify us that they're bringing a victim to the emergency department. That call would then prompt Women in Need.
Women in Need is a victim advocacy group in Chambersburg specializing in legal, emotional, and physical assistance, plus anything else a victim might need.
We will send an advocate out to the hospital for emotional support, provide information. We want to find out specific questions before we actually call in the SART team.
These SART nurses, or Sexual Assault Response Team, then collect DNA evidence.
When you open the kit, you have very distinct directions on in what order you're going to collect evidence and what you're going to collect. We do oral swabs. We scrape underneath your fingernails and potentially even clip your fingernails so that we can, if there were any skin cells under there or any other kind of evidence that we could collect.
The DNA is then sent to a lab and hopefully helps convict a criminal. if the victim goes to the hospital in time.
We only have a 5-day window, about 120 hours to do the evidence collection. So once we're past that window, then we can't go back.
Victims of rape need to seek support from their community through organizations like Women in Need. Shippensburg University's Women's Center and other campus organizations offer support to empower student victims.
The Counseling Center offers support. Sometimes students will go to the Spiritual Center because they offer support. They can sometimes find support in smaller groups, so maybe their residence life communities.
From this point, victims can either proceed with a criminal trial or request a code of conduct hearing if the attacker is another student. For SUTV News, I'm Julie Ratcliffe.
Women in Need has a hotline for victims of sexual violence. Call 1-800-621-6660 now if you would like to speak to someone who could help. Mona Lisa's smile has captivated people for centuries, and now it turns out she has a secret behind it.
Joe Rodriguez is here with all the details in this week's World News.
The Iraqi military says it's regained control of more than half of a city it lost to ISIS in May. Military chiefs say units of the army, police, and counterterrorism forces all took part in the assault on the extremists. Under the cover of U.S.-led airstrikes, ground forces stormed the city from 3 sides. In other news, the third man who unleashed carnage at a Bataclan club in Paris last month has been identified. He, like the other attackers, blew himself up. The 23-year-old man was from a small town near France, and he traveled to Syria in 2013. The French Prime Minister confirmed the name being circulated is in fact correct and it is of the third attacker. News organization France 2 reported the man was known to French anti-terror services and had a police record. And lastly, a French scientist says Mona Lisa's smile may belong to someone else. Pascal Cott says there are 3 hidden paintings beneath the Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece. Cott says he spent 10 years using technology to analyze the painting. He says one hidden picture shows a woman looking into the distance with no trace of the characteristic smile. Many of the painting is the wife Florentine merchant, but Cott says he believes the portrait is of an entirely different woman. One historian says the discovery changes history and the Louvre Museum in Paris may have to change their label. That's all I have for you this week. Have a good break.
A Rat Pack legend is coming to Ship. Find out who after the break.
Plus, Game of Thrones is coming back this spring. We'll tell you what and who to expect in the upcoming season. And as we head to break, join in the festivities of putting up that Christmas tree.
Preview.
You know, during finals week, I often see students walking around in a fog, but this week it was the real thing.
It was the real thing. I could barely see the building walking to class.
It's bad.
Let's send it to Isabella, who has next week's weather report.
Cold temperatures and foggy nights have been trending this past week. Tonight, expect a low of 39 and mostly cloudy skies. Now tomorrow, partly cloudy and a high of 62. In the 5-day, Saturday and Sunday should see mostly cloudy skies with highs in the upper 60s. And starting off the week, you can expect highs in the upper 50s. Showers on Monday and sunny skies on Tuesday and Wednesday. Have a happy and safe winter break.
Game of Thrones Season 6 is still over 4 months away, but HBO has already released a new trailer. Thrones fans are still buzzing about last season's finale and the death of Jon Snow. But Snow's death didn't stop him from being featured in the new trailer. Many fans are speculating Jon Snow may be returning for Beyond the Grave for the new season. There is still time to see Paul Anka do things his way on stage at the Lore Center. Tickets are still available to see the Canadian-American singer-songwriter. Anka got his big break when Diana hit #1 on both the Canadian and U.S. charts. Anka has also written songs for Tom Jones, Buddy Holly, and Frank Sinatra. Anka had to cancel his first show in October due to illness, but has been rescheduled to 8 p.m. tonight. If you have tickets from the canceled show, you can exchange them at the box office. Have a happy holiday, Ship.
And for the record, Paul Anka is before my time. I know you were thinking, right? All right, when we come back at sports, a Ship Raider takes another Player of the Week title.
And see just how busy the athletes will be over winter break. But before we go, let's take a look at how that Christmas tree ended up.
Welcome back to SUTV Sports. I'm Jake Gillespie. The track and field teams are preparing to have another successful season. Laquan Chapman has the preview.
The men's and women's track and field teams are gearing up for the 2015 season. The men are seeking their 6th straight indoor title, and the women seeking their 6th of the last 7 seasons. Shippensburg track has remained dominant over the last decade, though other PSAC teams are chasing the top spot on the podium.
I think that it's a good way to compete, knowing that everyone wants to beat you, and I think that's a good motivation factor. But I don't think that it should be the first thing on your brain. Like, it's not about wanting to beat all the other teams, it's about wanting to beat yourself and wanting to be better than yourself, and I think that's why we win PSACs every year.
Recruitment has played a major role in the success of the program, as well as staying focused on each important task.
We can be winning on paper, but everyone has to show up and do their part every single day. And I mean, just at practice and on meet days, you got to show up and give everything you got. Being part of such a great program, I mean, everybody already knows what the goal is, and everybody knows what they got to do. So it's really not hard to be a leader in this team because everyone already knows what they're doing.
Each athlete is setting new goals for themselves in hopes to start off in the right direction. For SUTV News, I'm Laquan Chapman.
The teams will compete again in late January. Shippensburg's women's basketball team beat Seton Hill 64-59 last week. Junior forward Morgan Griffith led the charge and earned PSAC Eastern Division Player of the Week. Zach Salzgiver has more.
Griffith was second team All-PSAC last year but continues to improve. She leads the Raiders in both scoring and rebounding, helping them pick up 2 wins last week and move into first place in the PSAC East. Griffith averaged 18.7 points and 10.7 rebounds in those wins, earning her PSAC East Player of the Week.
Just very important games last week. I worked very hard. I think my teammates knew, I got a hot hand, and they knew what the advantage was.
The women's next game is at Philadelphia on Saturday. I'm Zach Salzgiver, SUTV Sports.
The team's record is now 6-2. While most students are home enjoying the holidays, Raider athletes stay busy their winter season. Here's a look at the schedule over break. The 1-3 wrestling team will head to Messiah tomorrow. The team hosts Seton Hill and Belmont Abbey Tuesday, January 5th. On the 9th, they head to the Ursinus Duels and remain on the road to take on Elizabethtown Tuesday, January 12th. And finally, return home the next day to host Millersville. The 5-4 men's basketball team hits the road to take on Shepherd Sunday, December 13th, and then Mansfield on the 16th. When they return home, they will host Kutztown December 19th and Clarion January 3rd. The Raiders will have a long road trip heading to Pitt Johnstown January 6th, followed by Millersville on the 9th and Lock Haven January 13th. The team will finish at home against Cheney on January 16th. The 6-2 women's side will start on the road, traveling to Philly U Saturday, December 12th, followed by Mansfield on the 16th. They join the men on Saturday, December 19th, taking on Kutztown at home. The team will remain in Ship to host Shepherd on Wednesday the 30th and Clarion January 3rd. They will finish out their break traveling with the men to Pitt Johnstown, Millersville, and Lock Haven. They finish hosting Cheney at home. The men's and women's swim team have only one meet on January 9th at Edinburgh, and the indoor track and field team will get to spend their winter break back home.
Whew. And you're going to be where? On the couch?
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Not nearly as ambitious as these athletes. No.
No, they get all the credit. I'm going to sit on the couch.
But this guy won't be sitting on the couch.
No, sir. Bigger and better things. Well, maybe not better. Bigger things for Lou DeSanto here.
Maybe not better. Start work short. I don't have much of a break as you guys, so I won't be on the couch. Start working soon, but I wouldn't be there without the help of Dr. Garris and all the knowledge the past 4 years, without the entire crew of SUTV. So thank you to everyone. But for one last time, that's it for SUTV News. I'm Louis DeSanto.
And I'm Kim Garris. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News, and check out our website, sutvnews.com. We love you, Lou.